and swiping them. 31 stolen bases last season, only 11 caught stealings. So he's going to certainly take his time making his way down to first base. And again, though, it's a leadoff hit by a pitch, leadoff walk, however you want to call it. It is a free base runner, and this is where Kane County did all of their damage, especially against the brothers back in the bottom of the first inning.
Yeah, they have been taking advantage of it, and it's good after George Samus, trainer Scott Ellis, giving Peralta the okay, and I'm hopefully feeling good after that long walk over to first.
Well, the first 3 walks in the bottom of the first inning came around to score. Upshaw squares, pulls back, and takes ball 1 low and outside.
It's a good idea by Upshaw. Sanchez playing a little bit back at third, and it's been a bit rough for Armand so far. 143 at the plate, just 1 hit in this tournament.
Cornerstone of the lineup for Kane County. Fastball just nicks the outer black for a strike. 92 games last season for Kane County Cougars center fielder. Just nicks the outer black for a strike. 3 seasons in Kane County as well for Upshaw. Bounces in the dirt.
Yeah, it was interesting when I started with the Cougars, Armand Upshaw was a left-handed hitter. And just something that the lineup was calling for at the time, and then he's flipped back over to the right side, says he gets more power over there than he does from the left.
Well, some guys just have the ability to be that athletic. It doesn't matter what side of the plate they're on. Just a little bit of time maybe switch hitting for Upshaw over the course of his time growing up. And some guys are just, they find their contact side from one side of the plate, and then on the other side, the power is there. 3-1, bounces in the dirt for ball 4. Back-to-back free passes, and this is not the part of the lineup card you want to see coming up with men on base. Dylan Thomas will step in.
Yeah, it's exactly how this lineup is designed. You have speed all over now with Elvis Peralta at second, Armand Upshaw at first. Dylan Thomas, who has just been the glue so far, being able to reach base in a variety of different ways with this patient approach, and then absolute power after that with Lott, Henry, and Murphy.
Now we'll see a mound visit coming in after the leadoff hit by a pitch and a walk. And such a difference going back to the top of the first inning. A quick 1-2-3 inning from Gabara. And then it was a little bit of a taxing second. The leadoff single by Todd Lott, following up by the Max Murphy base hit, the walk from Juan Fernandez, then the Claudio Final RBI fielder's choice. The eventual wild pitch to bring home Max Murphy would make it 2-0. But the first 2 men to reach, and then the table has been set for Dylan Thomas. He ground out to the third baseman Sanchez his first time up. Especially now at a point of the tournament where every single run matters. Speed is aboard with Peralta and Upshaw. The first pitch. And Thomas takes all the way. It's a strike on the outer half of the plate. The 0-1. Thomas lines it up the middle. Stopped by the second baseman Ramon. Flips to short for one Mateo. Back to first in time. A 4-6-3 double play that sent Yulieski Ramon onto his wallet. Was able to knock it down and stay with it enough to get the scorching double play.
Yeah, and way to stick with it, too, for Ramon. I mean, just able to, despite getting knocked down, flip it back over in time to Mateo, who makes a great throw over to first, and that is just what this Cuban team needed.
Now Rafael Perdomo starting to get loose in the bullpen for the Crocodiles. Might have caught a break after that double play ball. Here's Todd Lott. He singled his last time up and would eventually come around to score. We have seen a lot of second basemen either seeing that ball kick off them or get on by him. First pitch buried in the dirt. Good stop by Perez to keep Peralta stationed at third. He still looks like he might be feeling it a little bit from that last hit by a pitch. He's grabbing his shoe top.
It's a tough place to get hit, just right on the inside of the foot. It's a tender area. And as hard as we've been seeing Guevara throw the ball, it can't feel good.
The only fortunate aspect was it was a breaking ball. That doesn't make it any better, but it wasn't the fastest velocity we've seen.
It's true.
And what we've seen over the last couple of innings is that Guevara just has not been getting ahead like he did in that first. He was ahead of every single batter he saw. but then was playing catch-up from the second inning and now here in the third. The 2-0. Called strike on Todd Lott, now 2 balls and a strike.
Well, this inning looked like it was going to have trouble written all over it. But getting that double play ball against Dylan Thomas is huge, and if Guevara can get out of this unscathed, it's a big boost for the Cubans.
2-1 misses way outside for ball 3. Jabari Henry awaits on deck. He struck out swinging back in the second inning. 2-0 Kane County here in the top half of inning number 3. Three-one. Tapper, third base side. Sanchez charges, has the wayside bounce, throws across to end the top of the third. Couple of men reach, one is left stranded. We now go to the bottom half of the third inning. 2-0 Cougars. Gorgeous Friday afternoon for baseball here in the heart of Mexico City. It's the 2026 Baseball Champions League. We 8-9-1 due up for the Crocodiles. Luis Sanchez, Luis Mateo, and the top of the order, Yulieski Ramon due up against Brandon Comar. Had to work around a single back in the bottom of the second inning, but has looked very sharp so far today. We're holding things up. Looks like something is on the field of play at the moment by the first base dugout. And we're ready to go. First pitch on the way from Comar. Takes inside to start things off 1-0. Well, Colin, this is where we're hoping to see for Comar, if you're George Samus, is that you want him to get through 3 innings of clean-slated baseball. And does it feel like every inning you get after that is a bonus inning, or are you kind of thinking that he's going into the 4th inning kind of no matter what?
I would think bonus inning's the right way to look at it. This is a pretty deep bullpen that the Cougars brought to Mexico City. But with that being said, and we mentioned it at the top, they've used a lot of it. And we've seen guys coming out in a couple appearances. So as much as you can get out of Brandon Comar, I think you're going to take if you're George Samus and this Cougars team.
Only a couple of pitchers on this Cougars roster only having 1 appearance. We saw almost the whole Johnny Holstaff in the last couple of days against the Diablos, and then yesterday against the Brothers. But it's kind of the luxury of having a couple of starting pitchers who have the ability to go deep. A swing and a miss, wipeout slider, and the 3rd consecutive strikeout for Brandon Comar, a guy who comes into the season not with the overpowering strikeout stuff, but he's spinning that slider effectively so far this afternoon.
Man, you're telling me that is 3 straight put away with that slider just crossing so far to the outside. And he's got, look at that. Cuban players just looking silly, and 3 straight strikeouts now for Brandon Comar.
And he's hitting his spots on the corners as well. That is part of his success, is leaving stuff away from the middle of the plate is what we saw from the Cubans yesterday. They just could not be able to hit their edges. Line drive and just past the reach of Sam Dexter into left. A one-out single that puts the top of the order up with a man on.
It's good contact here. Barreled it up right over the shortstop's head, and now with the lineup turning over, second time through now to see Brandon Comar. Maybe the Crocodiles can put something together.
We've seen Sam Dexter all over the place at shortstop, and that one just evaded the leather. So the top of the order, Uleski Ramon with one out and a man on. First pitch swinging, skies it. Right center field has a slight bit of carry with the wind, but Max Murphy drifts in, makes the catch for the second out. Quick outs, that's been the recipe so far, and Comar has done well. That's the 32nd pitch of his afternoon so far.
Yeah, it's looking great. I mean, 23 strikes to 9 balls, and with as much as it's been chasing for this Crocodiles team as well, it's just getting very easy, it seems, for Brandon Comar to settle into a groove. It's the first time we've seen it from a Cougar starter.
So here's the first pitch to Esteban Terry, is a move over to first base before then. Standing in safely is Mateo. And he was leaning towards second. He just scampers back in, but it was close.
Got to keep him honest.
Well, we've seen this Cuban team elect to run. It's no different at the bottom of the order. First pitch swinging, cued off the end of the bat, and it rolls foul on the first base side. Kane County's lineup will go 5, 6, and 7 in the top half of the fourth. 2-0 still in favor of the Cougars offense. A little bit of a later start here in game one. We've been in the morning slates until today, the lone exception. The 0-1. Fastball misses up and away. Colin, you enjoy your extra maybe hour and a half or so of sleeping in?
I don't think anybody in this booth has got much complaints about getting a little bit of extra sleep. I mean, it's been an all-day affair for us. It's been amazing.
Thanks to the quick game yesterday between Dantos and the Crocodiles. 1-1. Pops him up, first base side, foul ground. Todd Lott loses his cap near the dugout railing, but it's going to find the crowd anyways. Another close game, though, here in the early afternoon. We have some folks in attendance. Most of them are stadium staff enjoying the shade. Some of them are enjoying the sunshine. Camera crew, camera operators, snapping pictures for the WBSC. Of course, our shuttle drivers and the team liaisons enjoying a gorgeous Friday afternoon. Temperatures hovering right above 70, 71 degrees. The 1-2. Fastball taken northbound. The Cougars striking for a pair in the top of the second inning, and that lead still stands. A couple of hits as well.
Yeah, just being efficient with their hits. I mean, again, it's 2 runs, 2 hits so far. At one point against Chinese Taipei, it was 16 runs, 16 hits.
Move back to first, standing in safely again is Mateo. And Comar showing that move off effectively. It's quick. And especially with a team like the Cubans who run, and they run a lot, you haven't exactly had to been worried so much about the run game from any of these other teams except maybe Chinese Taipei, but we're seeing the Cubans be a lot more aggressive and knowing that their BCL life is on the line today. 2-2. Swing and a miss for strike 3. Brandon Comar does it again. Another devastating slider ends the third, and we are off to the fourth with Kane County ahead by 2. Rafael Perdomo back up on the mound for this Crocodiles ball club. We've seen him just once so far in the tournament, but it was 3 1/3 innings. Just gave up 1 hit against the Brothers. And he is in to stop what is a Kane County assault here in the top half of inning number 4. 2 runs already in. And a first pitch strike to Sam Dexter, the first batter he will face against the Kane County Cougars this afternoon.
Perdomo very effective with that outside cutter. The first thing he just threw to Sam Dexter.
Tries to double up, but that one runs off the outside for a ball.
Put away 4. The Chinese Taipei by the way of the K. And those 3 1/3 pitched.
Final after his RBI single at first. The 1-1. Low and outside. 2 balls and a strike now. Dexter struck out swinging to end the top half of the second inning. The top of the lineup card waiting on deck, Elvis Peralta. 2-1, fastball missing north. And this is what we saw from this Crocodiles team yesterday. The relievers having difficulty stopping any sort of momentum. And it might continue here. A 3-1 pitch runs underneath Sam Dexter for ball 4. A quick walk, runners at first and second, and here comes Elvis Peralta in the top of the Kane County lineup.
Well, that might have been why they switched over to Perdomo to try to avoid the free passes. He hadn't had a walk in those 3 1/3, but unable to come back against Sam Dexter after being up 0-1.
This inning started out with a Jabari Henry lineout, but then 4 consecutive base runners since then. First pitch, Peralta takes a rip, comes up empty. It was a Max Murphy RBI single, a Juan Fernandez RBI double, followed up by a Claudio Final RBI single, and then the walk from Sam Dexter. The 0-1. Skies it to left, slicing towards Terry, who's a couple of feet into the left center field alleyway, makes the catch, and the runners will retreat. 2 outs for Armand Upshaw.
That's a big out for Rafael Perdomo and the Crocodiles to just kind of take a collective deep breath as this Cougar run started. We've just seen so many big innings started, just like this one did for the Cougars, where it starts to get contagious and everybody gets involved. So to kind of plug that up at the top of the order could be big for the Crocodiles.
Peralta just missed it. It was a good pitch to hit, but got a little cappy. First pitch to Upshaw. He takes outside. A strikeout and a walk his day so far, so 2 out of the 3 true outcomes. Good shot of our flags blowing above the center field batter's eye, drifting out towards right central. The 1-0. Slider, just enough on the outside for a strike, evens things up at 1. The 1-1. In tight for ball 2.
Upshaw's been very patient. Already a walk in this game. Just trying to force himself into a good count.
He was wiped out on a 4-6-3 double play that was hit by the man behind him, Dylan Thomas, his last time up. 2-1. Outside, ball 3. We'll see how aggressive Upshaw gets here. Runners at first and second, 2 outs, an open bag at third. And he gives it a ride, high and deep, out to left center. Terry picking up speed to the warning track. They look up, and it disappears over the wall. A 3-run home run off the bat of Armand Upshaw. Kane County now will lead 7-0.
Well, welcome to this BCL tournament, Armand Upshaw. The patient approach pays off. We were just talking about some of the power that he contains on that right side compared to the left. And the way the ball has been flying over that left field wall in this tournament, even at 392 and 101 off the bat, that was enough for Armand.
He got all of it. Gave it a good shot. And it just got enough to squeak out and disappear over the left center field fence. First home run of the tournament for Armand Upshaw, and his third, fourth, and fifth runs batted in. First pitch to Dylan Thomas, and he takes upstairs. Double barrel action in the Crocodiles bullpen. Thomas spits in the dirt for a ball, now 2-0. You're just waiting for one of these Cougars to get in on the bash. First home run of the ball game for either side. 2-0. Down low for ball 3. 2 runs in the top of the second, 5 across here in the top of the fourth, and this is what we've seen from this Cougars ball club, is the ability to keep playing add-on, and more add-on. And that's ball 4. Dylan Thomas draws a free pass. He's aboard. And the inning now will send its 9th man to the plate, Todd Lott.
So 5th walk of the tournament for Dylan Thomas. Just always finding ways to get aboard.
No one holding on Thomas, and he'll break for second. And he'll get there standing up, no contest.
That was easy.
Conversation between Perdomo and Thomas saying, I don't care if it's up 7-0. Tiebreakers are in effect when it comes to a possible scenario like we're talking about earlier, where you could have a 3-way tie at 3-1 at the end of everything. And takes outside for ball 2. And yeah, the frustration is one thing, but it's also only a 7-run lead, and it's early. It's not like up 15 or something where you start holding up the brakes. It's still anyone's game at this point, albeit Kane County's been in control so far in the first half. Todd Lott takes outside, but in reality, 7 runs is not that much to come back from, and we've seen that countless times in this tournament so far.
A lot of crooked numbers, including from this Crocodiles team. And you mentioned it with the tiebreakers. First one's win-loss. Second one is team's quality balance, which does include run differential in a way. So all of the runs that cross the plate for the Cougars do matter if that does become an eventual tiebreaker scenario. And we've worked it out that that could be the case.
It all comes down to Saturday if we were going to start talking about that. A 3-1 to Todd Lott. And Lott, he joins the bash, his second of the tournament, and it's in the Kane County bullpen and gone. 9-0 Cougars. Todd Lott with his second shot, RBIs 3 and 4, and he puts the nickel in the merry-go-round, and he's on his horse again.
108.5 miles per hour off the bat, 428 directly beeline into the Cougars bullpen. And this man, one of the most dangerous when he's able to flip his hips and get his hands extended. The launch angle, always so good from Todd Lott. Second home run of the tournament, and the Cougars putting up a big crooked number here in the 4th.
They bat around here in the top of the 4th inning, and we'll see a new pitcher come in from the right center field bullpen. The Crocodiles now trail by 9.
Until the very last minute, in fact beyond the last minute, they were keeping us guessing, but Kylian Mbappe does start. And as you're saying, Steve, in recent weeks, the last 4 games, only 21 minutes against Manchester City. It might be the evolution of Brazilian football. This is an excellent start. Gusto down the right-hand side, flipping it right across, looking for Ekitike, an important header from Wesley. He's one of the youngsters coming into the team, the 22-year-old. Plays his football at Roma. He's one of the youngsters coming into the team, the 22-year-old. Plays his football at Roma. He's one of the youngsters coming into the team, the 22-year-old. Plays his football at Roma.
And that's just lovely playing.
He's one of the youngsters coming into the team, the 22-year-old. Plays his football at Roma.
And that's just lovely playing. It Gusto, Dembele.
Edison behind. A real rookie back four.
Sawed in half.
Yeah, sawed in half a long ways. That's crazy. Look at this.
Just explodes off the label. Luis Mateo ducking for cover.
That almost made it into shallow left field.
Oh, the club went further than the ball.
That's, yeah. That's a weapon at the end of the day. That's a projectile.
The javelin toss out to shallow left center. No stats for Perez so far in the tournament. This is his first appearance made in BCL 2026. 0-2, misses up and away. But a 3-run home run by Armand Upshaw and a 2-run shot by Todd Lott. The Kane County boys doing damage here in the 4th inning. 1-2, bounces in the dirt. And this is also what we saw from this Crocodiles pitching side. The bullpen just was not able to smother the Flames. The 2-2. Floater, up and away, ball 3. Hold things up with the time called. Three-two, taken for a called third strike. A perfect pitcher's pitch on the lower inside corner. Jabari Henry down looking to end the inning. But a 7 spot, and Kane County leads 9-0. Pitch fouled off by Eduardo Blanco. 9-0 Kane County, a 7 spot in the top of the 4th. 2 home runs hit by Armand Upshaw and then Todd Lott. 0-1 misses outside. Only 2 base runners so far for the Crocodiles. Both of them base hits, and both of them hit all not that hard. The 1-1. On the ground at third, but past the outstretched glove of Claudio Final into left. A leadoff single, the first leadoff base runner for the Crocodiles here this afternoon. And it's not hit all that hard, but again, balls that skip off this turf will pick up speed.
Yeah, and location's important, just putting it right through the hole there between short and third. They have gotten a hit, they meaning the Crocodiles, in each of the last 3 innings now, but just unable to string them together. And credit to Komar as well, just being able to shut it down. And listen, we were talking about how he's more of a hit for contact kind of pitcher. He's got 4 strikeouts.
The first pitch to Yasiel Gonzalez. He swings at the first pitch, floater into shallow center. Armand Upshaw will charge in and make the running catch. So a quick first few batters. A base hit, 2 pitches in, and then a fly out on the third pitch. And that's a person who you need to take care of, especially if there's men on base in Gonzalez. He's done some damage so far, but taking care of business on the cleanup batter who has done some damage so far. He was batting .571 entering into the ball game. First pitch whiff from Noronha. He had a base hit his last time up, stole second, but he was left stranded after back-to-back strikeouts to end the bottom of inning number 2. 0-1 chop to shortstop. Dexter slings it to Peralta 1. Over to first to Todd Lott. Rackham. 6-4-3. Tailor-made to end the 4th and send us to the 5th with Kane County leading by 9. Two for 2 on the day. First pitch swinging, a breaking ball falls underneath the barrel for a swinging strike. A 7-hit tournament so far for Max Murphy. A 1 bounces in the dirt. One once again finds the dirt behind home plate. So I see your yesterday's Jorge Bacardo, and so far I'll raise you with Brandon Komar for Kane County. He has looked sharp on the Kane County pitching side. Ground ball almost eats up Ramon, has plenty of time to get the out at first.
He's looked really solid. And again, it's the first time really that the Cougars starting pitching has been able to be effective. We saw Connor Ash in game 1. He went 2 2/3 before getting pulled, and then Vincent Pinelli couldn't make it out of the first inning. So it's got to be refreshing for George Samus and this Cougars team to see a starter actually go kind of deep in a game.
Here's Juan Fernandez. He takes a called for a strike and an RBI double his last time up. And it's nice to look out into that left field bullpen, especially if you are George Samus, and not have to get any of your relievers moving around. Pulled on the ground to third. Sanchez has time. Slings it across the diamond for the second out.
Yeah, and I mean, again, it's impressive. We talked, ad nauseum about the elevation here in Mexico City and how much the ball flies off the bat, but the fact that you're playing this Cuban team that is full of guys that have had tons of international play and have played together for so many years and is very veteran-like, and to just be able to mow them down for 4 innings and only allow 3 hits, it is just an impressive feat so far by Comar.
What is more impressive is it's 3 hits, and maybe one of those balls you could say is classified as hard hit. Everything has been just out of the reach of an infielder's glove, either it being flicked into the outfield or just a little skimmer that just makes it through because of this turf. Final down 0-2. Back-to-back plate appearances with RBIs. Fights it down the right field side out of play.
Well, and he's kept the pitch count down. He's got 4 strikeouts. He hasn't walked anybody. It's just been the most efficient start I think we've seen in this tournament so far.
The 0-2. Low for a ball. Starting to see the foothills beyond the grandstands here at Estadio Alfredo Harpelú. High skying fly ball slicing down the right field line. Videx does not have a plate, finds the bleachers. But you have the neighborhoods that roll all the way up into the mountaintops, and then you go beyond that, miles and miles and miles beyond those neighborhoods. You see the towering mountains that overlook Mexico City and go into the wilderness and eventually makes its way to the deep outskirts. The 1-2. Up and away. Beautiful scenery here in Mexico City. You have the downtown area about 20 miles or so beyond the first base side. And that city center is ways away from where we are, but you are in a densely populated spot of Mexico City where 1, our hotel is near the airport, and 2, where the stadium is in this whole sporting district area. The traffic is insane, leaving the ballpark late at night, and even at an 11 to almost midnight on a Tuesday, you are still sitting in bumper-to-bumper traffic. 2-2. Final gives this a bit of a thump out to right. Back is Videx at the warning track, leaps up at the wall, makes the catch. Almost home run distance. It would have certainly been extra bases if it falls in, but a 1-2-3. Top of the 5th. We go to the bottom half. Halfway through this one, Kane County leads by 9. Halfway through this one, bottom of inning number 5, Brandon Comar. He's in control so far this afternoon. First pitch taken low for ball 1 on Andy Perez, who was his first strikeout victim of what was back-to-back Ks to end the bottom of the second, which now Comar has 4 strikeouts after getting multiple Ks in the third. Cute foul to even things up.
It's been a long time since this Cuban team has pushed a run across. You have to go back to the 4th inning in that game last night. And since that 4th inning when they pushed a run across, they've only had 4 hits.
2 of them in as many innings. 1-1 taken low.
And only one of those being an extra base hit. So it's just been a real struggle at the plate for the Crocodiles.
And you can have one game where things just don't go your way, but that's it. Only one in a tournament like this. 2-1. Oh, things are looking ugly. A nasty slider gets a swing over the top from Perez. Now 2-2. And Comar's just doing it all. The fastball's been working in east to west, north to south, and then that slider has done a good job of keeping it out of reach. 2-2 tumbles away.
That's what he tried to go with there. He has already sat down Andres Perez with that slider, as well as several other of his compadres.
3-2. Busted bat back to Comar, and he'll take it himself to first base with a flip to Todd Lott after Perez starts to make his way back to the dugout.
It's almost like he heard you.
That's a simple little poke right back to the mound, and I mean, this has just been Comar's bread and butter so far. A lot of weak contact. I mean, it's amazing how well he's mixing up east to west and having the success he has so far. So here's a Hanielo Videx. First pitch, fouls it back.
And he's a rare person on this Cougars team that doesn't have any American Association experience. Just signed with the Cougars a couple of weeks ago. I mean, he's been in major league systems for the last few years.
But he'll get his chance to see what Kane County's about a little later on in the spring. But
Well,
he's shown a great showing for his manager in that third base dugout.
Exactly that. You know, between George Samus, the manager, and David Holmberg, the pitching coach, you have to really like what you've seen from Brandon Comar and get excited about adding him to that rotation come the regular season for the American Association.
He's at 52 pitches, 36 of them have been strikes, 16 have been outside the zone. And how about number 37 for a strike? And that's strikeout number 5. Brandon Comar strutting around the mound. He's feeling his stuff today.
Went back to the bread and butter, that slider just going away, and he has just been able to get the Crocodiles to keep on biting on that. I mean, this is hands down the best performance we've seen, not just from a Cougar starter, from any starter in this BCL tournament.
Luis Sanchez steps in, grounds it foul down the third base side. I mean, when you're able to blank a team through 4 2/3 and allow just weak contact throughout the entire afternoon so far, that bullpen is feeling really good. There's just a couple of guys standing around enjoying the sunshine, but pretty much Comar is just on cruise control right now. The 0-1. Number backwards foul now ahead in the driver's seat. No balls and 2 strikes.
Chance to pick up his 6th strikeout of the game and get Luis Sanchez for the second time. Again, I mean, Comar is a guy in the minor league systems averaging close to 2 to 3 strikeouts. He's already sitting at 5 here through 5.
Kicks and deals a quick 0-2. It's pulled foul, so a little bit of a bag of tricks from Comar, speeding him up on the fastball inside. A little bit of a modified quick pitch on the windup. A commonality so far in this tournament that we've seen pitchers do, and Comar so far, no exception.
Wouldn't be surprised if he tries to go back to that slider now here, Trevor, especially with pitches to play with.
The 0-2. He does indeed, and the bat is thrown just to make contact with it. So he'll hand the bat over.
I'm not sure I've ever seen that before.
Hand the bat over to Sanchez. Here, you might need this.
Let's see this. I mean, that's exactly what he did, Trevor. He threw the bat, made contact, the ball went foul, and the bat went right back to the mound.
That's when you know you have your opponent's number is when they have to let go of the bat just to make some sort of contact. We'll rinse and repeat on 0-2 again. Fouled back, coming towards us, and over our heads in the VIP section above us.
Could hear it thud right on the roof.
You want your souvenir? Go get it. Now's your chance.
That's right.
Did that yesterday.
Maybe after the game. Oh, there we go.
We try the 0-2 once more. Buries it in the dirt.
We'll give Luis Sanchez credit. He's hanging in there and quite literally doing everything he can to hang in there.
This will be the 60th pitch of the afternoon for Komar. You're through 4 2/3 innings. The 1-2. On the ground, skimming towards second. Elvis Peralta has time and slings the rock across to first to end the inning. 5 complete, 9-0 Kane County. We step aside for the 6th. Yamichelle Perez in a 9-0 Kane County advantage over the Crocodiles of the Cuba National Series. And so far, Colin, we have seen a lot of offense by Kane County, specifically in that fourth inning where they pushed 7 across.
I think this is Kane County kind of showing what they can really bring to the table when the pitching is also becoming a huge factor. We've seen the power being flexed all throughout the sign-up now for the third game in a row, but throw in what Comar's done on the mound, and this is a really, really impressive-looking team in this tournament.
Well, for the first time in the ball game, Kane County has someone up and moving in their bullpen. Brandon Comar has just been rock solid today. A swing and a miss. Sam Dexter down on strikes. One gone to open up the 6th. Now we'll turn the lineup card over once again. Elvis Peralta up for his third at-bat, or at least at the moment, third at-bat, fourth plate appearance.
Yamichel Perez has actually done a pretty decent job since coming in here. He's retired 5 straight Cougars.
First pitch, a strike on Peralta. Called strike now, 1-2.
Just continuing to pepper in that strike zone. I mean, again, it's 9-0, and it's been dominance on the pitching, of course, for the Cougars as well, but you can just kind of hold this lead and maybe help them get back in the game.
The right-handed arm of Denny Larondo starting to get loose in King County bullpen. A native of Cuba, pitcher of the 2026 World Baseball Classic.
And a rare arm we haven't seen yet out of the Cougar bullpen.
And just recently signed to the Fargo Moorhead Redhawks, so we'll get a look at him when he comes in, whether that is in the 6th inning or if later. Peralta spoils it, foul 1-2. But the way Brandon Comar's throwing, you would like to see him go out again, but then again, if you can save him for maybe a couple of days, at least see if he could possibly be available if you make it to that championship game on Sunday, which at the moment right now is looking like a possibility for the Cougars. 1-2, Peralta slaps it to right center, shallow. It falls fast and falls in, a base hit. Elvis Peralta checks in with a single with one away here in the top of the 6th inning to bring up Armand Upshaw.
Second time aboard for Peralta, and his 5th game, or I should say 5th hit in 2 games. He has been efficient at that one spot for the Cougars.
Getting the leadoff yesterday against the Brothers, and he responded well. 4 hits in the 5 at-bats he was given. A base hit again here in the 6th inning, and it's a very competitive lineup from his Kane County Cougars ball club. Even Josh Allen, who is getting an off day today, you're looking like you can mix in a solid middle option. Even Sam Dexter with his glove as an option. But Elvis Peralta and Josh Allen looking like they could be your middle infielders for the rest of the weekend. Claudio Final has swung it well as the third baseman. Even Armand Upshaw joining in on the party. A 3-run home run his last time up. He gives us a poke out to right center. Floating in the air for Eduardo Blanco. He crosses over Videx to make the catch. Back to first goes Peralta, 2 gone.
Yeah, there's just not a lot of holes, it looks like, in this Cougars lineup, and especially when you're mentioning the depth as well. It's just a lot of options and a lot of things to do, and it's a good problem to have, but it's almost like if the Cougars make it to the championship game, what do you put together if you're George Samus? Because it's all been so good. You don't want to make anything, make any mistakes in that right. But it's interesting to see.
Well, that is a problem that George Samus is hoping to have in the next couple of days. Dylan Thomas steps in. He's been quiet. He grounded out to third, bounced into a solid stroked ground ball that turned into a double play, then drew a walk, would eventually score on a Todd Lott 2-run home run. First pitch swing, and Thomas gives this a ride to center. Blanco goes backpedaling near the wall, makes the catch, and allowed third out. Dylan Thomas retires the side on the line out. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Kane County leads by 9. He leads at 9-0 as we move along here from Estadio Alfredo Harpelu. And Denny Lorando, he's making his first appearance of the BCL after pitching for Team Cuba in the WBC. He made one start versus Colombia through 2 innings, gave up 4 walks, 1 strikeout, a run. It was unearned. But the first time that we get to see this heart-throwing right-hander from Villa Clara, Cuba. So he's facing up against his fellow countrymen here to open up the bottom of the 6th. And the first pitch to Luis Mateo is a fastball that's roasting on the inside for ball 1.
Yeah, a little bit of friendly fire here with Lorando. But again, a guy that gets to make his debut here, not just in a Cougars jersey, but technically in the American Association. Getting in with the Fargo Moorhead Redhawks, as mentioned.
Just signed as early as a couple of weeks ago in March, very similar to Komar. Take you back to July of 2018, where he signed as an international free agent to the New York Yankees at the age of either 16 or 17 years old, kind of undetermined. A strike called, 2-1. Would eventually be claimed off waivers by the Arizona Diamondbacks organization. And would be released by the Diamondbacks in 2025. Splitting time in Class A Visalia and Class High A Hillsboro. Line drive to right center field. Max Murphy drifts into the gap, reaches out, makes the grab. 1 gone. 20 games, 17 starts for Lorando. 80 2/3 innings of work, a 5.36 ERA, 92 strikeouts, 41 walks, 53 runs, 48 of which were earned.
So far, so good, picking up right where Komar left off, and that's now 9 straight Crocodiles retired.
First pitch. He rips a strike on Luis Mateo. Check that, make that 2 balls and 2 strikes.
It's actually 6 straight, but just the 1 single.
Should be nothing in 1.
Seems right, yeah. I think the scoreboard's wrong.
We're going to go with the 0-1. Swings all the way around for a strike, and now we'll go to 0-2. And sometimes we rely on the video board and the scoreboard so much, and these guys have done such a great job. They've been on the ball for everything so far here in the BCL. And looks like we're getting maybe a little bit of technical issues up on the video board. Line drive the opposite way, foul. And that just happens over the course of a ball game. Just technology can sometimes be a pain in the rear, and we've been not just a victim of it, but we have been a sympathy victim of it. We've had our own sort of fun little technical issues to work around, but we've done a great job of making sure everything gets back in order so we can get this game presented to you. As we're back on it, no balls and 2 strikes. Yeleski Ramon, 0 for 2 so far. The pitch on the way. Swing and a miss. Lorando gets the strikeout swinging. That's the 6th strikeout of the ball game by Kane County Cougars pitchers. 2 away now, and they'll bring up Esteban Terry.
Yeah, they are just mowing them down. Really nice pitch there by Lorando to just buzz it by him, right by the ear. And just to touch on the scoreboards, too, I just love the 2 scoreboard setup. I mean, you get so much information on each of them. The alignment of the Cougars on this left one with the pitcher aboard, how many pitches they throw in both balls and strikes, and then the right one more focusing on the hitters.
A good look here overhead on our camera. That's right up here on our broadcast booth. And this is what our view is up here. Yeah, gorgeous day. Shadows slowly starting to creep out, but it's been so fun to be here inside of Estadio Alfredo Harpelu, and Major League Baseball will make its way down here a little later on in the 2026 season. The Mexico City series between the Diamondbacks of Arizona and the San Diego Padres in NL West showdown. A base hit by Esteban Terry. A 2-out base runner will bring up Eduardo Blanco.
First hit since the top of the 4th inning, and the first hitter of the 4th inning for this Cuban team. And again, they've just not been able to string any together. It seems like it's always just one and done.
Well, Brandon Comar's line comes to an end after 5 complete innings, 3 hits, no runs. The big one, no walks and 5 strikeouts, and that is efficiency at its finest.
Yeah, the best start of the tournament.
First pitch to Eduardo Blanco. Pokes it foul, first base side.
I mean, there hasn't been a single game where we've gone this deep into the 6th inning and a team has 0 runs.
And we've had our string of innings where zeros have been put up on the board, but it's been nothing like this. So far for the Cubans, a man has yet to get to second base so far. That is how efficient the Cougars have been on the defensive and pitching side. The 0-1 is a swing and a miss. The one time that a runner has gone to second was because of a stolen base by Jose Noronha. That was back in the bottom of the 2nd inning. He was left stranded. And that is a couple of guys who are certainly happy to see what this has done so far. Chris Cosi saw their bench coach for George Samus, manager for the Fargo-Moorhead Redhawks during the summer. The 0-2. Chopper, Shoffley hit to short, charging in Dexter on the turf, slings the pebble across to end the inning. We're through 6. Kane County leads by 9. We're off to the back third of this one. Clock local here from Mexico City. The Diablos Rojos del Mexico taking on the CTBC Brothers right here on AA Baseball TV. And it's going to be another good one on a gorgeous, gorgeous Friday afternoon that will turn into an absolute stunning Friday evening. That was your line score so far. 9-0 Kane County. 2 runs in the top of the 2nd, 7 runs in the top of the 4th. And it's the middle of this Cougar order. Todd Lott, Jabari Henry, and Max Murphy. And Todd Lott's had a good day. 2 hits, including a 2-run home run back in that 4th inning. He takes the first pitch for ball 1.
Well, and again, Yamichel Perez, he's only allowed 1 hit.
Skied in the air to shallow left center. Backing up Mateo on his heels. He backs up and makes the catch on a ball that looked like it was lost by a majority of the Crocodiles infielders. And even us up in the here in the broadcast booth, it went sky high and disappeared from view.
Yeah, you're not kidding. I mean, I don't know if you can hit a ball more powerful underneath. That ball was up in the air for, I mean, a solid 4 seconds.
Mentioned yesterday, it seems like these balls have helium in them the way they're floating around. Here's Jabari Henry now stepping in. And the first pitch. Fouled off his front shoe. That's going to sting a bit.
Yeah, 8 out of 9 Cougars retired by Yamichel Perez since entering the game late in that 4th inning.
A much-needed relief appearance from the Crocodiles, the 0-1. Slows everything down with a 68-mile-an-hour changeup. My goodness, that ball was puffing its way up to home plate. The 0-2, just rolling right along. Chopped to third. Charging in Sanchez on the run, has plenty of time. 2 outs. You see that? Perez is just kind of getting the ball back and just going right on into it again.
Haven't seen it.
Just wasting no time. He gets the ball back from Perez, the catcher, and then immediately just starts his warm-up, kind of like he's a pitching machine. You know those old iron mics that just get the ball back up and sling it forward?
It's a little refreshing compared to what we've been seeing, though, in this tournament.
So here's Max Murphy with 2 outs. Takes inside for ball 1. Multi-hit day for Murphy. A couple of singles, a couple of runs scored. Big rip on 1-0 coming up empty. As usual, a fixture in the Winnipeg Goldeyes lineup, always patrolling right field. Occasional DH spots. Pulled foul. But it's been his arm that's been the talk of the tournament so far. Has already cut down a base runner at second base, and Murphy's usually due for at least 1 or 2 outfield assists over the course of the season. The 1-2 now is swung on and missed for strike 3 to end the inning. 1-2-3, breezing through the top of the 7th. Time to stretch here from Mexico City, 9-0 Kane County.
Yeah, it's not fun at 93 miles an hour.
That was about the same exact spot he got hit yesterday as well.
Might have some battle scars.
Well, I can't say this with certainty. Chad, you're going to need to help me out with this, but if this stands, would this be the first ever shutout in a BACL game?
Yeah, we'll get fact-checked on that, but...
We absolutely had... There was a guarantee you had nothing about that last year. But yeah, the 2023 BCL that was played in Monterey at sea level, so you get a little bit of less elevation and chaos.
You would think that'd have to be the one. I mean, it was all high-scoring games in 2024. Or I should say 2025.
First pitch on the way to Jose Noronha. He takes ball 1 just above the strike zone. Now, there's still work to be done. You still got to get through the bottom of the 7th, and then as long as the lead stays put, obviously in the 8th and 9th, but you're looking at possible history being made here. The 1-0. Lines it down the first base side out of play. And that is what is so interesting about this tournament, is that we were going into this expecting high-scoring affairs, and we've gotten that so far, so it's not like we've been shy of that. But I think it's even more impressive when we go into these types of contests, like we saw even yesterday, for an example, of when pitching takes the reins of a ball game. So as we just heard, 2023, the Fargo-Moorhead Redhawks, so American Association champions, beating a Cuban team 8-0. That was the first shutout.
So history just repeats itself, potentially.
It's possible. The 1-2. Swing and a miss for strike 3. Leonardo gets his second strikeout here in the bottom of the 7th inning, 1 away, and that will now bring up Andy Perez.
It's just, I mean, utter dominance on both ends so far. I mean, the pitching especially, 14 strikes to 4 balls from Leonardo since he's gotten in the game. They've only allowed 4 hits in total, have walked none. I mean, just limiting the mistakes.
We will see a pinch hitter now lifted for Andy Perez. It will be Andy Casame. He'll make his first appearance in this afternoon. And that was the championship game. It was the Fargo-Moorhead Redhawks versus the Cuban team winning the inaugural Baseball Champions League. And that one runs in and catches Casame in the backside. Puts runners at first and second now with 1 gone. Bring up Videx.
Even more impressive to do it in a championship game at that. Just showed how dominant that Fargo team that was brought down in the inaugural BCL was.
Leonardo Los Tunas, last year the Cuban champions, putting up the most runs in a BCL game. It was 31 runs scored last season.
That's
32 hits.
31 runs. That's, I mean, there's football games that don't get that high.
Well, certainly in the Big Ten, especially in the middle of winter. When you get close to the postseason, especially, I feel like we kind of saw that a little bit this year in the postseason between, what was it, Ohio State and Indiana. New pinch hitter. Ariel Duque now will step in, and he'll take over for Videx.
Well, you got to try to do anything if you're this Cuban team, just getting new bats up there, new faces, to try to spark something here in the bottom of the 7th.
The first time all day the Cubans have had multiple men on base against Kane County. A big rip to even the count up at 1.
Yeah, and the first time the Cougars have really made mistakes with a couple of hit by pitches. No walks yet, but both these men aboard because Lorando hit them.
It wasn't like it was deep in counts, you lose them. It was first pitches as well, so at least there's the efficiency side of they're getting on, and it's not taking you a couple of extra bullets to do it. With that being said, a couple of guys moving around in Kane County's bullpen, and it still could be a ball game. Even though Kane County is leading 9-0, all it takes is a couple of big innings from the Cubans, and they make their way back in. The 2-1. Skied, third base side, foul territory. Shading his eyes from the sun, Claudio Final has plenty of room to make the catch in the second out here in the bottom of the 7th.
Well, you'll take that if you're Lorando to get yourself back on track. Some weak contact to the left side and an easy play for Claudio Final.
And that would bring up Luis Sanchez, the 8-hitter, the third baseman for this Cuban ball club. Runner still aboard at first and second. Yasiel Gonzalez, who led off the inning with a hit by a pitch, and Andy Casame at first. The first pitch. Chops it on the ground at third. Charging in Final. Gloves it. Has time. Fires a strike. Does Todd Lott hold on to the bag? For the moment, Carlos Leon says he does. We'll hold things up just in case. But Kane County, they're going to run off the field, so no challenge, and that is how the inning comes to an end. Couple of men reach. They're left stranded. To the 8th we go. Kane County leads by 9. take control. They lead 9-0. Juan Fernandez, Claudio Final, and Sam Dexter lead off the inning. First pitch, a called strike on Fernandez. An RBI double back in the fourth inning. He's the one who got everything started in that 7-run frame. And that's been pretty much the only action for the Cougars offensively. It was a 2-run top of the second inning, and then that explosion of 7. And the Cougar bats have gone a little quiet since then. Yashmael Perez has been part of the reason for that. He's pitched well since entering on in that fourth inning, Colin.
Yeah, we've been deadlocked for the last 3 innings. And that's just due to good pitching, including Yashmael Perez.
0-2, spoiled foul, first base side off the protective netting.
His last hit allowed was in the 6th, before that into the 4th, but a lot like we were seeing from Comer, just not a lot of action outside of that.
0-2, Fernandez able to just poke it back to the netting once again, foul. And it's really the bottom of the order that's done a lot of the damage. It started with Max Murphy a couple of times. Well, he had the Todd Lott in the second inning, but Max Murphy started things off with a single. And then it was the Fernandez RBI double, the Claudio Final RBI single, and then the big bops from Armand Upshaw and Todd Lott. But really, it has been the table setters at the bottom of the lineup card doing the damage. And it's really helped this lineup just keep finding ways to turn around and get multiple chances to hit with runners in scoring position, which is something Kane County has not wasted today. Fernandez with a floater, shallow left. It's going to plop its way in on the turf for a base hit. Second knock for Fernandez today, a multi-hit contest. Sets the stage for Claudio Final for a leadoff knock.
Well, and Claudio Final has been certainly a big part of that bottom 3 throughout the 3 games. He had 3 hits, including a home run in the 8th spot in Game 1. And against the Brothers, he was in the 7th spot, also picked up 3 hits. He's got a couple RBIs today.
The first pitch. Swings and bounces it to second. Ramon flips to short. Mateo 1 on to first. 4-6-3. Rack him on the double play. We've seen that a couple of times so far. The Cubans turn 2. 2 quick outs now after the leadoff single.
Yashmael Perez just doing a good job not letting any trouble phase him. And he's given up hits now in 2 out of the last 3 innings, but they haven't gotten past first base. And that's all the damage that he's allowed.
Sam Dexter takes all the way for a first pitch strike. A walk sandwiched in between a couple of strikeouts. Soft roll to third. Sanchez across in time, inning over. To the bottom of the 8th, Kane County wanting to keep this thing rolling. Goose egg on the board, 9-0. little bit sporadic in the bottom of the 7th inning. Hit a couple of hit batters, but was able to work out of the inning with some weak contact. So here's the first pitch on the way to Mateo. Rushes a fastball outside for ball 1. Liking the pacing so far here in game 1. That's nice to see after a couple of long games earlier in the week. 1-0. Slips the outside corner for a called strike to even things up at 1.
Yeah, it's really been a straight pitching duel for the last 3.5 innings. I mean, if there wasn't that big crooked number in the 4th, this would actually be the makings of a pretty good game.
Yeah, 7 runs in the top of the 4th inning. Part of the reason you're seeing 9 on the board for Kane County. An ugly swing on a fastball outside. Mateo just throwing the bat head out. Now down 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Should mention Ray Zuber, the third, now in left field for Dylan Thomas.
Defensive
sub for the Cougars.
Defensive replacement, getting Thomas a chance to get off his feet and give Zuber a chance to swing it going into the 9th. The 1-2. Breaking ball frozen on the inside corner. A devastating pitch from Leonardo, and there's his 3rd strikeout.
Yeah, had him turning, completely fooled, thinking that was potentially going to hit him in the elbow. Instead, comes right back in. Backdoors right in for the edge for strikeout number 3.
This copyright telecast is presented by the authority of Baseball Champions League. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Yulieski Ramon now steps in. 1 out after the strikeout looking. First pitch swinging, and it's fouled back to Juan Fernandez's glove for a strike.
Just 1 hit allowed for Denny Lorando since coming in this game. He did hit those 2 guys in the 7th, but other than that, a lot of efficiency.
The 0-1. Line drive, shallow center, upshot charges, but he's going to play it on a hop. A base hit by Yulieski Ramon. It's his 5th of the tournament. And a 1-out base runner brings up Esteban Terry.
Good piece of hitting back up the middle for Ramon, but only his first hit today. I mean, he's been a table setter for this Cuban team, and without that, it's just been kind of hard for the rest of the team to fall in place.
Yeah, it's just been scattered hits so far, nothing really strung together. The first pitch to Terry. Takes a called strike. Splits the corner. 0-1. It's pretty much do or die time for the Crocodiles. Their tournament hangs in the balance here over the next couple of outs. Playing with 5 remaining. A swing and a miss. Whiffs on the slider. 0-2. Well, it was a bit of a battle yesterday for Kane County. Going down early 5-0, but then throwing a 10 spot in the bottom of the 1st inning and continuing to play add-on late. This has been a much more relaxing ball game. As you mentioned earlier, if it wasn't for that 7 spot, it'd be a little bit more nail-biter, especially with the tying run then being at the plate if it stayed at 2-0. But when you're able to bat around, send all your guys up to the dish, and then a couple of multi-run home runs, that does change the way you go into the back end of the ball game. Leonardo's 1-2. Sky to right. Murphy giving ground near the warning track, still backing up, twisting and turning, will make the catch. And a long throw in back to first. Ramon tiptoeing his way back in for the 2nd out. That ball almost cleared the right field fence.
Yeah, and this is not an easy play for Murphy to have to make with all the wind and everything else that these elements are bringing, to just kind of find his footing and be able to get underneath it and make the catch. It's a big out number 2.
And Murphy plays pretty much the deepest part of the outfield as anyone in this tournament. And that's just for his sake. He likes to be able to play deep and give him as much time on range. If anything, charging in is so much easier than charging back. And we saw him twisting and turning around. That's part of the reason why he plays as far back as he can, because he knows that if he has to twist around, that ball probably would be gone anyways. Here's the 1-0 to Blanco. Runs in tight. but it also kind of allows you to cut everything off into that gap, especially when the ball here plays so fast off that turf. And down the line as well, he's really shaded the other way, and part of the reason is also because of the way the wind is blowing everything across the left to right winds. 2-0, skied in the infield. Sam Dexter, the shortstop behind the bag at second to make the catch. That's 8 complete. Kane County leading 9-0 as we go to the 9th. Back here from Estadio Alfredo Harpelu on Friday afternoon for baseball. And Kane County rolling here 9-0 as we are in the top of the 9th inning. And it's been all Kane County Cougars since the second. 2 runs scored, a couple of RBIs on a fielder's choice, and then a run scored on a wild pitch. And then it was the monstrous 7-run fourth that has us at the scoreline. Elvis Peralta will step in. Yash-Michel Perez back out to work for the Crocodiles of the Cuba National Series. A swing and a miss by Perez to kick things off.
It's hard to hold your hat about anything here if you're the Crocodiles down 9-0 in the 9th, but you look at Yash-Michel Perez. I mean, he's gone 4 1/3. He's only allowed 2 hits, 3 strikeouts. He's really shut the door on this Cougars team. He just can't get any support on the offense.
The 1-1. Slowed. Zubaru will get a chance to swing in, and looks like Elvis Peralta is going to need some new lumber. The tape just given away. It's not a broken bat, though, Colin, which is a rarity.
Yeah, no kidding.
Just need some new lumber just because the bat grip ended up giving away.
So it actually looks like this Crocodiles team did a couple defensive things. Duquesne's actually at first. It's Pena now in right field.
Jose Noroña now lifted.
Brian Pena.
The 1-2 in the dirt, and everything is back at level of 2-2. A rather stress-free game if you're Kane County, especially on the pitching side. Brendan Comar, excellent. Denny Leonardo has some bright spots. A couple of hit-by pitches. Ball that's taken foul. Pena in the shade makes the catch. There's the first out in the top of the 9th. But all things considered, this has been the sharpest pitching we have seen from any team in the last 2 baseball Champions Leagues.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe all time outside of that championship game for the Fargo-Moorhead Redhawks. I mean, we might be witnessing only the 2nd shutout in BCL history.
And granted, there has only been now in our 3rd iteration of BCL play, but especially here from Mexico City, where the elevation is the star of each show. We talk about it on every broadcast because it's just the hidden factor that is quite clearly out there in play. But everyone is expecting these tournament games to be 10-run affairs, double-digit runs from both sides possibly, and it just so happens that today we are seeing one of the very few exceptions of that.
Yeah, and I think there's an argument to be made this might be the most impressive pitching performance. When you look at it's only 5 hits, no runs. They haven't allowed a single walk. They've struck out 8. And they're doing it with this elevation here in Mexico City.
1-2 is taken outside. And that's the big thing. 0 walks. Hit by pitches are hit by pitches. It is what it is. And it's not like you are battling up and it's a 2-strike hit by pitch, which we've seen in this tournament before. Armored up shot goes down, swinging 2-away. Here comes Ray Zuber III to get his first plate appearance of the day. But in fact, though, as we take a look at the way these games have gone, we saw yesterday, obviously, Dantos, their pitching staff, took the bull by the horns in the bullpen, but it wasn't from the starting pitching on. I mean, we did see Leonardo Crawford have a good first couple of frames before that 4th inning exploded, but otherwise it has been one of the very few exceptions to this tournament, seeing one of the best pitching performances possibly of all BCL play, especially with the way Brendan Komar kind of just showed up out of nowhere. A strike taken by Zuber.
Well, if the Cougars hold on, obviously they put themselves in the best position in the tournament to go to the championship. It's not necessarily a guarantee at that point, but a lot of things would have to go wrong for it not to happen.
Staying at 3-0 is such a big advantage when everyone else has seen a loss. The 1-2, Zuber pokes it foul.
And again, we won't get too deep into it, but this will certainly help the Cougars with the second tiebreaker that has to do, not completely, but has to do a little with run differential, only giving up no runs and scoring 9.
Well, especially with the way Dantos was pitching over the last few games, they've been able to keep low scores over the course of their tournament, but putting a goose egg on the board could go for a very long way, especially if this scenario turns out as chaotic as we could possibly think it does. A ground ball to Duque at first to end the inning. To the bottom of the 9th we go. 3 outs away from history repeating itself as the Cougars lead 9-0. Shut out. Here's the 0-1. Swing and a miss. 92 on the outer outside corner. The right-hander from Baytown, Texas, just outside of Houston. The 0-2. Taken just off the lower outside corner. Another good quality pitch. But Perez able to hold up. After some time at the University of Houston, a former 2A player, then turned pitcher only, would finish up his collegiate career at McNeese State University, Lake Charles, Louisiana. The 1-2. Swing and a miss for strike 3. 86-mile-an-hour changeup gets the string yanked on Perez. Strikeout number 1 for Derek Cherry. 2 more outs for the Cougars to secure history again.
Just picking up right where Denny Larandos left off. Another great pitch. Derek Cherry continuing his good start in this BCL tournament.
He pitched well against the Diablos. Now, couldn't get out of his inning of work. Had a little bit of not so much help from his defense behind him, but otherwise, he looked sharp in that first game, and now here he is against the Crocodiles. First pitch, 94 on the outer end for a strike. And that fastball can reach up to 97 miles an hour, but will usually sit between 94 to 96. But it's the changeup against left-handers that is absolutely diabolical. The 0-1. Cued off the end of the bat, first base side foul. Has a good slider to work off that he's been developing over the year. But a back-end bullpen arm for the Winnipeg Goldeyes. Now steps in here at 9-0 in favor of Kane County. As Brian Pena, and 0-2. Here it comes. 94, fastball outside, taken for a ball. Andy Kasame would await on deck after coming in to pinch hit for Andy Perez back in the 7th. The 1-2. Another foul ball, cued off the end of the bat and into the shin.
Still no hits in this BCL for Brian Pena. First time he's getting up today.
Cherry, a former Oakland baller in the Pioneer League, was also out at the elevation in Rocky Mountain. So he's used to pitching up in high elevations. So 7,000 feet is different. 1-2, fouled off of Juan Fernandez, and he takes another beating. Scooting his way around the home plate area behind the dish. And he's slow to get up, but that is right off the inside of the shin guard, and it did actually catch some plastic, but as we've noticed so far, it doesn't exactly matter if it hits any sort of protection. That is still one of the worst feelings that you could have as a catcher.
It looked like it maybe even caught a little bit of the inside of his knee, which definitely can make that hurt even more. Get looked at by our trainer, Scott Ellis.
I mean, it's a thankless and thankful job at the same time. And the pitchers who I've talked to over the years with the Goldeyes and across the rest of the American Association always do a good job of taking care of their catchers, whether it's getting them Gatorades at the hotel or taking care of them after bullpen sessions. I mean, they do so much work for their pitching staff over the course of the season. Like I said, catching bullpens prior to batting practice, sometimes having to leave batting practice early to go catch bullpens. I mean, it really is a grinding position, and you spend so much time on the defensive side that whatever you do offensively is a bonus, and we've seen that from Fernandez today with his RBI double.
He's looked good in this tournament so far.
1-2 again from Cherry. Swing and a miss. There's your bat toss. A nasty slider loses the handle of the twig. Back-to-back case for Derek Cherry. It's on that diabolical slider, 2 away now.
We have seen some interesting tricks with the bats today.
We've seen throwing the bat to hit a slider and throwing the bat whiffing on a slider.
We've seen a bat get sawed off vertically in half, horizontally in half. A little bit of everything.
And the Cougars have 26 outs and are looking for that 27th to make history. First pitch, swinging, fouled off. 0-1. It was the 2023 BCL Championship game. It was the American Association representative of the Fargo-Moorhead Redhawks, winning an 8-0 shutout win against the Cuban representative to secure the first ever BCL championship. The 0-1, swing and a miss, and history is now a strike away. A 9-0 lead for the Kane County Cougars. And a strike away from making their path to Sunday even easier. The 0-2, and the dirt buries it for ball one.
It's not a bad location, though, to try to get him to chase. We've been seeing the Crocodiles going after pitches out of the zone all day long.
A brilliant pitching performance for Kane County. Cherry has Kasame at 1-2. Here he comes home. Swing and a miss for strike three. History made here inside of Estadio Alfredo Harpaloo. For just the second time in BCL history, a shutout has been thrown, and it's by the American Association representatives for the second time in BCL history. Derek Cherry strikes out the side, and Kane County wins 9-0 here on a gorgeous Friday afternoon. They are now just one win away from their path to Sunday being locked in. A 9-0 dominant performance